Hello and welcome to the Face Building Podcast, episode 41, with your lovely and amazing hosts, Vladi Kuna.
And Norman Gräter. Hi, guys.
Hello, lovely people out there in the world. Today is all about let go, and for the spiritual ones or the Christian ones, let God. Let go and let God. I think Bob Proctor used to say, and Vladi has probably a lovely book reference where this can be found. I'm being reminded when I think about let go, let God, about a great speech I saw from Oprah Winfrey many, many months ago, where she spoke at a conference and she told her story how she wanted to be in the color purple in the movie and how she got turned upside down and in and out and it did not work. And she was so frustrated that she thought it's her weight, that people did not book her for the movie due to her weight, and she went to a fat farm and she started crying because nothing worked out. And she said the moment she could let go of everything, and she started singing I Surrender All. It's a beautiful Christian song. And she said she sang and she ran and she sang, and she sang the song until she could feel that she could go into the movie, The Color Purple, and bless the other actress in the role that she wanted to play. And she said the moment she let it go, the phone was ringing and somebody came screaming out of a cafeteria. And it was Steven Spielberg calling and said, I heard you at a fat farm. She said, nope, I'm at a health retreat. And he said, I want to see you in my office tomorrow. And if you lose 1 pound, you could lose the part, like the role she wanted to play. And then she said, no problem do I have not losing a pound. And she went to the Dairy Queen fast food restaurant and got 3 scoops of ice just in case she lost a little tiny pound. I really love the story. And at the end, she closes and said, if you have done everything in your power, if you have worked it from left, from right, from up to down, you have prayed, you have knocked on doors, you have went all the way in, but it still did not work, then let it go and let the higher power take over for you and let the higher power guide your way, if you call it God or universe or whatever. And I just love the story. What is your take on let go and let God, Vladi?
It's my favorite chapter. As Norman pointed out, I'm going to direct you to Bob Proctor's You Were Born Rich book, chapter 4, which is Let Go, Let God. But it really, this particular sentence goes back to my transformation. Last episode, we talked to you about change and how are you willing to change. It is such a huge part. Like, go back to last episode and listen to Norman's explanation, because really, if you're not willing to do things, it's not going to happen. It is the will that we have to use. It's one of your higher mental faculties. But this sentence to me means a lot, because when I transformed and really started a personal development with Bob Proctor, I was like so desperate to meet him. You know, it was that I was doing everything and it just wasn't working. It was like Oprah, you know, like when you really, 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 really want something. And then I just had to kind of let it go. I thought, you know, like it will happen. I believed it will happen. And then I became part of his coaching and started writing a book, which was my number, seagull, as he called it. Like I had to choose a seagull. So I chose to write a book and become an author. And then got in touch with Peggy McCall, who helped me with the book. But going back to Bob, Peggy actually managed to help me to be on the hot seat with him. And I remember I had this burning question, you know, how we desperate, am I writing the right goal? I was creating so much resistance. Looking back at how I started personal development, I did probably half of the wrong things minimum to start with. And I so believed it was right. You know, like how we believe as a parents, we're doing the best we can and we look backwards and thinking, I should have done that differently. It doesn't matter. Let it go is really a sentence for this. But then he said to me, take a piece of paper and write 3 words for you. And it was let. I still have that piece of paper that I actually wrote with him on the call. And I've written it many times. Any kind of piece of paper you get, just use the 3 letters, let, and really apply this to your life all the time. I think it was the biggest transformation in my life. Let go and let God is really more. There's so much more to it than just the sentence. We're holding on to grudges and hatred and jealousy and upsetness and all these things that people do to us. We feel that they do it to us, but they don't always. We don't know people's story. Maybe they conditioned that way. Maybe they're in a really bad situation. So really look at the person in front of you and say, we don't know somebody's story, even if you feel that it's not fair and they're doing something mean to you. But equally, come back to letting go. Because what are the paradigms? People usually just think of the letting go in a wrong way. Because really it is, what can I let go that is really not serving me to become a higher self? And that is the key. It is having a faith, really have faith in you. We go to self-love because if you don't fill your cup first, you cannot give what you think you're giving. Let me repeat that. Let me show you. If your cup is full, and this is not quite full, but again, it's a perception thing. So really, if you fill your cup, if you're healthy, if you're wealthy in any kind of ways, not just money, if you have a great relationships, you love your job, and you can't have everything 100%. So let's go, like we talked last time, you can't meditate 24/7 and stuff. But majority dominant part of you, you're enjoying life, you really have a core values that are meaningful, and you genuinely are feeding your best higher self and working on yourself and growing and helping others to do the same, you will feel that. Like the cup feels. I remember when somebody said to me, I said, yeah, but I love giving. And I do. I love giving, and I was helping, but I drained myself. And that was part of my transformation point where I drained myself too much. Why? Because I didn't fill my cup. I was giving more than I could have given. And it's not that it's wrong, but somebody then later years, one of my coaches pointed out, but if your cup is just 30% full, even if you give people 100%, you're only giving them 30. And this is what we often don't realize. We can be grounded in relationships. We can be better bosses. We can be better leaders in the world. We can be better parents. We can be better spouses and partners if we fill our cup first. But yet, letting go of certain things and letting God means, what are the things that are more important? Letting God means that, like Norman mentioned last episode in a vision, you have the vision, you see yourself in there, and you know it will happen one day. But there is a gestation period and whatever else, so you just let it go. But it doesn't mean you forget it. Sometimes you have to take everyday small steps, but don't overwork yourself. People stress themselves. They hardly sleep. I was one of them, like lack of sleep, and I would even be telling people, but I get so much more done. Yeah, but you know what? It actually then takes away somewhere else. So really it is, look at the areas of your life you absolutely love and enjoy. What do you love, and what are the things that are not serving you in each area, and let it go. Like move and change. And that letting go comes with change. Norman, I'll hand it back to you.
I loved when you said the word let. 3 letters, L-E-T, and as I'm a professional keynote speaker, I like to build acronyms out of words, which means an acronym is you have a word like let, and every letter, L-E-T, stands for new world. It's called acronym. And I just built an acronym out of let, and I would say the L in let stands for love. Do you love yourself? Do you love your current life? Do you love even your enemies? Do you love the circumstances that happen to you? If you approach them in a good or bad way, doesn't matter. But do you love your life in general? Because if you want to let go, this means that you're not attached to something anymore. And therefore, you should love the situation that is right now. And make sure that the situation got created by and through you, through your way of thinking, of speaking, of feeling, and through your actions. And this is just called the result. Can you love more what is right now instead of blaming the outside, the inside, your circumstances in your family, in your workplace? You created all of. No, 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 no. I did not do that, you might think. Yes, your way of thinking, your way of deciding created it. Yes, but my wife or my husband said this and that. Who chose this person? Maybe 20, 30 years ago. You, right? No, 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 no. I was influenced by my best friend. Yeah, but you let her decision overrule your decision. You cannot get out of that. It was always based on your decision. Can you start loving whatever is. Which brings us to the E in let, and E stands, in my case, for emotion. What we had in the last episode, episode 40, if you did not listen to it yet. Can you start to feel the emotion you would have when your goal and your dream is achieved or fulfilled? What's the emotion you would have? If you say, I have no idea how I would feel when the money is on my bank account, or when I have this client, or when my relationship is running smooth, I have no idea. Maybe gratitude would be a good thing to start with. Just being thankful, being grateful for this loving relationship, for the money that came in. Can you emotionally be in your daily life, what we shared at the end of the last episode? Can you make your life a walking, talking, sitting, sleeping meditation? Can you be in the constant emotion of your wish fulfilled, which means you let the dream go, you let the details go, you let the universe or God sort out all the details to make your dream in a reality come true. Still, you wanna feel those feelings, in the best case, all day and all night. And if you say, I still don't know what I should feel, go back to the first letter, love. Could you feel love for yourself? Could you feel love for the cash register young guy or lady? Could you feel love to the homeless person? Yeah, no, they smell quite bad. That's again your judgmental things. What we also shared in episode 40. Do you react or do you respond to things from the outside? And if somebody smells not good, then buy them a deodorant. I don't know. I don't know. Can you just feel emotionally much better? And brings us to the third letter in let. And the T stands, in my case, for trust. And this is a word that goes hand in hand together with the faith building podcast. Like faith and trust is something very similar in my case, in my mind. If you let go the details of your dreams, but you keep the love for yourself, for your dream, and for others, you emotionally are attached to all the great feelings that you can get, no matter the circumstances, because you react less and you respond more to things from the outside. And then, as the third letter and the end of our little acronym, the T, can you trust more that the universe, that God, that higher power, that source will bring all the things needed? Because it's like with karma, we spoke about it already. It's with the echo in the mountains. To receive an echo, you have to give an echo first, which means if you give love, if you give a lot of great emotions, and if you trust that the echo that you're sending out first has to come back, then you have the right circumstances to have a beautiful and wonderful life with the universe on your back, or with the strong partner like God on your side. If you love, if you emotionally feel the good stuff, and if you trust, then you're sending out all the right things to get back whatever you want to have.
You know, that was amazing, Norman. I love it. I wrote it down as well. I'm going to use it. And it really stands to all the stuff that, so I'm going to adopt it because you came up with it, but it really stands about what we always study with. And I like the trust. I'm going to actually expand on that because we had a little chat. Letting go is very close tied to trust. If somebody you trust hurts you, it's so much harder to let go than if you just keep going through things. And this is again with the higher self and an ego. If you come from responding and not reacting, and you come from being that, you know, like having a very core values, if someone you really trust does things that hurt you, or, you know, they deceitful or manipulative, or whichever way you can, you know, use, whether it's in business and private life, it doesn't matter, it can be in both, then it's difficult for us to sometimes to let go, right? So really come to the higher self. And that's what we were mentioning, and Norma talked about, like send love. How can I bring myself to a place where I'm just gonna send love? Now let it go. And I actually always used to say, I forgive people right away, but sometimes I don't forget. So, it's easier to forgive than forget. So that thing is always there. However, how much emotions, which I love the E, because it's everything blends back into it, how much emotions you put in it, that's why it's easier or harder to let go. Because really, if you train yourself to really allow to understand, and I'm going to go back to understand, is some people do things because they programmed that way. Some people do things because they were conditioned. Some people, like Norma mentioned with the relationships, we found them. Like you find business partners, clients, employees and stuff, and then keep complaining about someone. What we need to do is collect the information, ground ourselves as much as possible, see how long or short term it is, because yes, it will affect you if you let it go for too long and you're not happy about it. You need to just put a stop to it and say, okay, what am I not doing? Or what am I doing wrong? Or what am I doing to actually add to the emotions which are not serving me? Love is the key, which is the first L. So it really blends for me backwards, because really love is the best thing we can have. And I love the Neil Donald Walsh's book on how he in the God's Soul talks about God. If people don't like the word God, they should replace it with pure love. Think about that. Anything which is pure love, it's just greatness and goodness. And if we can shine the pure love out, regardless of what's coming at us, it's almost, imagine this shield where things are coming at you which you may think are difficult. Like your boss is annoying you, your partner's not really, you're arguing about certain things, your kids are driving you crazy, like you can actually experience and roll in all these things. What if you imagine this in the movies? I think it's the movie Airbender, which I watched my son, part of it, where somebody shoots like ice and the guy just melted it into a dust. What if you could do that with these negative emotions, where you just create this amazing shield where you feel that if there's something you perceive as negative or bad towards you, you just send love to that person, pure love, see this all whatever dark sort of negative energies melt away and just fall down as a dust in front of you. Because pure love, shining pure love, gives nothing but love. So nothing can really touch us. It's us choosing the darkness, really, in a sense, if we want to be metaphorical in a fairy tales. I write fairy tales, so I like talking that language. But really, if we choose that, and it's what Norman said, like, what if we change the way we look at things? Wayne Dyer said, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. What does it really mean in terms of let go and let God? It means you find good in everything and everybody, and you just let go of the negative feeling and say, sometimes just feel, maybe I'm seeing all this situation wrong. And how many times you were in a situation where it really upset you, and then when you actually found out more about it and understood why people did what they did and it actually made sense, you actually feel like, oh, okay, well, now it makes sense to me, so now it's okay. So really, it always is with us. We react or respond based on the experience we had in the past, based on the beliefs we adopted and fed over the years as well. Meaning, if we, every time something happens and we associate that experience with massive fear, then it will always cause us to feel it. As we talked last episode, in your imagination, you will always say, oh, I'm scared of heights. I'm scared of heights. Oh, I had this accident. I'll give you a good example, actually, instead of rambling, is I was bitten by a dog. It's probably 20 years ago now, by a greyhound. I never was afraid of dogs, so he couldn't feel a fear, because I used to just even say to my sister and stuff like, stop it, don't create, the fear, because we will attract the dogs. And this dog just ran and jumped from the back and really bit me, ripped off my jacket and stuff. Later, what was found, he attacked 2 other people, and it was, I think he had brain tumor. So, there was a reason why he was aggressive. I don't know how he got out of the garden, but to cut the story short, I'm still afraid of dogs. I've been dealing with it for 20 years and I still have not overcome the fear of big dogs bite until now. That's why I even got my little dog, so I can get better with it. But why letting go is important? Because that created a very bad experience for me, ending up in a hospital. Every time I see the dog, and I've been practicing it for so long, I go back to that experience. Why? Because really, fear is what comes up, and I keep adding to it. So I can't quite come of it because I am in that fear state every time I see a big dog. And it's my fault I still haven't overcome it. But that's what's with money, with relationships, with health, with anything. Diagnosis, somebody says to you, there are people who are diagnosed with terminal illnesses and they take a completely different attitude than some. And I'm not being judgmental at all. I'm just trying to show you that it's your attitude towards things, how you feel, how you respond instead of reacting, how you let go of things that really don't matter in your life because they may be associated with the emotions we had before of the experience, but we can change it like this. And we have to take steps. Maybe I haven't taken the right steps with the dog. Maybe I should have seen a specialist and I never did because I thought I can handle it. But really, that is what do you do with things that happen, and things are always going to be happening to us. So really our attitude and letting go and trusting, having faith in you, connecting yourself to that desire of yours rather than looking at what isn't, and staying on the frequency of I would love and have to experience this, and this is how it would feel, rather than coming from the luck where it will always keep you in the energy of luck. Norman.
Or Proctor would say now, you need to go through the tarot barrier. And it's true, the tarot barrier always comes up with, if it's Vladi's story with the dog, or you lost money at the stock market many years ago, you will always be in fear, or you got dumped or mistreated in a relationship. It always comes up as a fearful thing. And if you don't take action and go through the tarot barrier, which is sometimes painful because your mind always plays the trick like, oh, if this happens again, we don't want to go into the same pain that we had back then. And it could be physical pain, it could be emotional pain, it just doesn't matter. It's all in your mind. All the fear is only in your mind and not in the world's mind. Let me make you a quick example. If I ask you, could you believe that within 1 year you can make $10,000 by regular job, by finding the money, by working for it? It doesn't matter. Can you believe you can make $10,000 in 1 year? And I think most of us would say, in a year, yeah, sure, of course, I make more. Hey, so it's very easy. If I say, can you imagine making $10,000 in half a year? Some of you start already calculating and saying, half a year, yeah, 10,000, yeah, perfectly. Can you make it in a month? Now, some drop out because you take your regular income, and if you're employed, most likely you don't have 10K per month, but a little less. You start thinking and say, yeah, with the bonuses and the Christmas money and whatever, and in a month, I don't know. And if I continue and say, do you believe that you can make 10K in a week? Even more people drop out of the game and say, no, in a week, I don't believe that. Now, can you make 10K in a day? Now, even more people would drop out of this little mental game and say, in a day? No, usually it takes, I don't know, 3 months for me to make that with my regular job. So you see, the issue is not that you make 10K. The issue is just the time you think you need to make the 10K. With a year, all is good. With half a year, all is good. But with a day, you have issues, and the issues are not in this world, right? Because if the issues would be in the world, you would even say with the example with a year, no, it's not possible. It's only in your mind. Can you go through the terror barrier and say, and it comes back to what we spoke about before in another episode, your willingness to learn and your willingness to accept change. Are you willing to learn how to make 10K in a month or in a week or in a day? Are you willing, and are you willing to accept the change and let go of your favorite Netflix series and of your golf game and your tennis game because you need time and resources from somewhere, so you need to put them into different buckets than you do it right now? Nothing is impossible. Being in love with big dogs, being in love with another person again, trusting people. It's all possible, but we have to go through the terror barrier, and this means we have to face it. Maybe in Vladi's case, it's going to a dog shelter with the biggest dogs ever and working there as a volunteer for a whole weekend. Of course, she will shit her pants for the first couple of hours, but without going into the situation itself and going there with the dogs or spending the money on a coaching or going into a new relationship where you say, I go in full force because I can see that. I'm not quite sure, Vladi, if you watch all those Netflix, it's not documentations, it's basically those Netflix shows, Love is Blind and whatever their names is. So very often there are beautiful people on the outside, but when it comes to trust,
Yeah.
they most of them have an issue and say,
Yeah.
I cannot open up because something in my past happens. And they're so gorgeous and beautiful, but they don't go deep. They're just staying on the top level and
Yes.
they're playing with their hair all the time. And you can see it's all shallow. It's very shallow. They
Yeah.
don't go deep based on a fear. Now let's take this example. If you say, I cannot open up, you should be very honest and say, I don't want to open
Yeah.
up. Of course, you can.
True.
Vladi can go and buy the biggest dog on this planet. She can, but she does not want to because her terror barrier keeps her away. The fear of this could happen again. Still, if you go in a new relationship and you're holding back and you're still playing on the shallow level and you're not being honest and deep and open up and you're not vulnerable, do you think this relationship will last in a way that you want to have it? Deep inside. It's not that on the outside all looks great. You want to have a person that you can trust, that you can love, that you can emotionally go into. Without opening up first, this will not happen. Which means your personal terror barrier, where you say, I'm so afraid to talk to strangers. I'm so afraid to talk to people on the phone. I am so afraid of selling my program. Without facing it and really taking action and doing it, it will not just go away because you have to prove to your conscious and also to your subconscious that by doing it, nothing bad will happen. And even if it should not happen again the way you planned, instead of then totally pulling out and saying, I will not do that ever, ever again, going back to trust, having faith that for some reason the same thing happened again. And the cause is never on the outside.
Yeah.
Could you realize that the cause came from you, from within? And this I learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza. People that had spontaneous healings, he had 4 points that all those people did. And one point was they had to accept that their own thoughts made them sick. They had to accept and realize that their own thoughts made them sick, made the body sick. Without that, the healing was not possible. Because if you cannot believe it, if you don't have faith, if you don't have the knowing that whatever causes one thing, the negative, the positive thing can be done as well. It's the same mind. It's just you need to go through the terror barrier. And I wish you all the best doing that every day, little by little, step by step. Will it fall away and become easy at one point and there's no terror barrier left? No, will not happen. Just go through the next terror barrier and the next and the next and the next. Vladi, I leave it up to you to make the closing statement.
You know, it's so true with everything you've said. And to be fair, the reason I actually finally allowed to have a dog, because I didn't want one, and we already have her for over a year, is because when you go out for a walk, you meet all the dog owners, and you know, like sometimes you're in this. And at first, I think I was freaking out more than the dog. But it helped me. So, you know, like it's really choose to take some steps that actually bring you closer to really releasing and letting go of the fear. Because until you put yourself in that's why I probably, you know, like I've tried in my mind, but do it in practice it. Don't just learn it. You know, it's the knowing doing gap. So many of us know what we have to do related to anything that's going on in your life, but we're not doing it. Why? Because knowing and doing gap means taking action. So what is the action you can take to actually help yourself or get let go of certain thing? And for me, it was that dog. And really, it started changing because I have to be so much around other dogs and dog walkers, and taking her for a walk means where every other person taking all their dogs, all the sizes in there. And I can feel it hasn't really gone completely, definitely not yet, but I can already feel so much grounding to half of the dogs, So really, I want to say this. When Norman just mentioned about what you choose, it's taking the responsibility. And that was, after gratitude, the biggest change in my life. Take a responsibility, because you are responsible of what you let go and what you don't. There is no one else in your life who can do it for you. There's not your partner or kids or parents and friends and best friends and bosses who can come and do certain things. And this reliance of us, of, oh, when my husband makes more money, then we can buy the house. What if we have to come back to us? You are the source, always and always. And as we like to have a new saying with Norman, I am the source of greatness, because really you are. So if you choose and you have a God and a universe behind your back all the time, it's that strength. Don't be the fly in Price Pritchard's book, You Squared, which we love, by the way. It's a great book to read if you're looking for something, where the fly was just trying to find a way out of the window and couldn't fly out. There was door open. There was when I was in a mountains cottage, there were ants, and if you actually draw a circle around them, they will not pass the circle. And I was paying attention. I drew a circle in the sand and in the stone, and I kept watching them. It's like, what is this limitation to us? Once they learned to pass the circle, they would, but until they figure it out, they keep going in a circle to the order, to the side, to the, to the drawing of the circle, and they would not have crossed it. And this is us. We put ourselves in a certain circle, we stay in the middle, and we keep going to the borders and not letting go. But once you cross that, you realize there's so much more possibilities, love, opportunities, and everything else. It's up to you to really choose to say yes to yourself. That's the simple way. Take responsibility, give unconditional love, and just have fun, but let go and let God. And I'll finish with that.
Absolutely beautiful. Say yes to yourself. And with that said, it could not get much better and more beautiful. We wish you a wonderful week. Say more yes to yourself, to the things that you love, and we believe in you. And we will see and hear you again next week. Until then, bye bye.
Thank you for watching.